interested in any of those, we'll have lots of opportunities for our students. Now, in terms of what your classes will look like, we have an average of 17:1 student to faculty ratio. Now that's the average. Your introductory courses, those are going to be much larger lecture hall styles with smaller breakout groups. And as you progress in your major, your courses are going to get much smaller. We know over 50% of our classes have less than 20 students in the room with you. So that's about the size of your high school classroom. So that's just one of the ways that we're ensuring students have that personalized experience with their professors and on campus. Now, you have the option to get involved in research on campus. We are a research-driven institution. If you're familiar with Gatorade, that was established by our College of Medicine as one of our research things. Last year, we spent $1.25 billion in research projects across all fields. So we are a land, sea, and space grant institution. We're one of the very few in the country that do all three. And that's just one of the options we have for our students if you're interested in research. We also have artificial intelligence. So we're working to become one of the nation's first artificial intelligence universities, introducing AI across the curriculum. So that's AI courses available to all students, regardless of what their major is. So it's a really nice opportunity for our students if you're interested in that field. We also have the HyperGator, which is the fastest supercomputer on a higher ed campus in the world for student use. So just another option for our students if you're interested. Now, in terms of our value of your education, you would be receiving a top education for a really great sticker price. We have the lowest tuition rate among top public and private institutions in the country. And we know that over 75% of our students graduate completely debt-free. About 90% of our students are receiving financial aid of some kind. That could be merit-based aid that you're automatically considered for with your application. Need-based aid is determined with the FAFSA, but I also always like to mention part-time jobs and work-study positions. So for students on such a large campus like we have, just about every single office hires student employees. So not only is that a great opportunity for students to get a little extra money, but also gets them work experience in a field that they might be interested in. When we think of outcomes, we have the Career Connection Center, which is ranked #2 in the country. One of my favorite things that they offer is the Gator Career Closet. Now, this is a boutique that students can go to get an entire professional outfit for free to keep every single semester. So we make sure that our students are prepared and dressed appropriately for those internships, research, job interviews, whatever that might be. We are supporting our students with that. They also hold the largest career fairs on a college campus in the Southeast. So these are thousands of employers that come to campus recruiting UF students. We know employers see the value of a UF education and the caliber of a UF student. So we have thousands of companies that hire students. Students will walk away from the career showcase that we have that's pictured here. They'll walk away with an internship, with a summer job, with a job after graduation, and other connections built within those industries. But we do want you to have a life outside of the classroom. That's part of our community and our student life. So the first thing I want to touch on is our student organizations. We have over 1,000 student organizations. We have so many clubs. We have a club to help you find a club, just in case you can't find a club. And if for whatever reason you don't see what you're interested in, you can create your own club and apply for funding from student government that has a multi-million-dollar budget to support our student activities on campus. We also have over 25 different residence halls to choose from. Now, living on campus is not required or reserved for first-year students. It is completely optional, so if you want to live off campus, you are more than welcome to. What's nice about Gainesville is as a college town, everything is student housing friendly. But if you are interested in living on campus, you'll want to submit your housing application early, just so that you can establish your place in line for priorities. With so many different options, I want you to have your top ticks. They also have living learning communities built within some of them for students of shared interest or identities, just to create another social space on campus. Now, there are a few different offices that I want to touch on that are part of our community on campus. The first one is the Disability Resource Center. So for students that might need accommodations either now or in the future, this office is there to make sure that they are successful on campus. We also have the Office of First Generation Student Success. So for students that might be the first in their family to go to college, this office is there to ensure that they are also successful. Now, lastly, I like to touch on the Center for Inclusion and Multicultural Engagement. This office is there to support our diverse student body on campus through different engagement activities, programmings, even spaces for our students to welcome them to campus. Now, I'll go into our application process and then we'll open it up to questions. So the first thing I want to touch on is the application process. So You'll submit your application through Common App. You'll be applying your senior year of high school, or whatever your last year of high school is before you enroll in college. So we'll submit on the Common App. That's usually the first step. The second step is going to be the SSAR, the Student Self-Reported Academic Record. This is where you will self-report the courses you've taken in high school. Now, if you took high school classes in middle school, you'll tell us about those as well. So you'll tell us the course, the grade you received, and the level of rigor. Now, if you are a junior or younger, these are the last grades that we see. We don't have time to look at senior year grades, so instead we will focus on the courses you've chosen to take your senior year, what your senior year schedule is. We want to see you continuing to challenge yourself into your senior year, but your 11th grade and below, those are the last grades that we see, so keep that in mind. Then the last deadline is always going to be the test score deadline. We are not test optional. We do require test scores that can be SAT, ACT, or now CLT. We don't have a preference, but we do super score. So it's to your advantage to continue testing if you have time, so that we can take the highest combination of your sub scores together. Now, a few myths I want to dispel right now with our application process. The first one is summer or fall start terms. The Common App has a question if you have a preferred start term of summer or fall. It is not easier to be admitted to one or the other. It is a preference. We try to honor your preference, but you're automatically considered for both. You might be offered, we will try to honor your preference, but depending on space, we might offer you a different term. So it is strictly just a preference. It's not easier to be admitted to one or the other. Another question we get a lot is the academic major. Does that influence your application? It does not. So we are not using the major that you select as a deciding factor in our admission process. And if you don't know what you want to study, that's okay too. You can select exploratory or undecided. So if you know exactly what you want to do, you can go ahead and share that with us. You can start right away. Otherwise, you can select exploratory, undecided. We give our students that flexibility, and it does not influence your decision. Lastly, is if there's any students earning their AA degree or associate's degree while they're graduating high school, you'll also submit the common application first. But that's the process. We will release our next cycle dates shortly. We just finished the current cycle, so you'll visit our website. Next couple of months, we'll have our newest dates posted, but generally the fall of your senior year of high school is when you'll be applying. Now, you're probably wondering what we are looking for. So we had over 74,000 applications this year. It's very important to meet those deadlines that we set, but what's going to distinguish your application amongst the thousands we will read is the holistic piece. We're looking at the academics and the non-academics. So academics, those are going to be your grades, your senior year coursework. Are you taking the most challenging courses offered to you at your school? Because we know different schools offer different things, and that's okay. We're also looking at that GPA, those test scores. That's the academics. Those are just the numbers, but those don't tell us enough. So we're looking at the non-academics, extracurricular activities, family responsibility. Maybe you're working jobs to support your family. Maybe you have hobbies at home. You've received honors and awards. Whatever that looks like for you, that's what we need to know. So we want to know how you are spending your time outside of the classroom. We don't have a preference on what activity that is, but we just want to see how you're spending your time meaningfully. And those details matter. I can't make assumptions. I need you to tell me exactly what you're doing. So if you did band 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, thousands of kids did band 9th, 11th, 12th. I want to know what instrument you played. Did you go on to competitions? Did you stay late to help when you didn't have to? Did you take on a leadership position? Whatever that looks like for you, we need those details. So that's in the extracurricular section. The last part is going to be the Common App essay. That's the essay that we're using. Multiple prompts to choose from, but no matter what prompt you choose, I recommend that you write about yourself. If you're not writing about yourself, you should rewrite it. There's a saying, if we removed your name from the essay and I had 10 blank essays in front of me, can your best friend pick out which one was yours? That's what we need to learn from that essay. So it's not just about the numbers. We need to know who you are as a person. So that is the admission process. I do want to touch on 2 programs very quickly. The first is the honors program. If you're interested in honors, you would submit an additional supplemental essay in your Common App. But this program does not exclude you from traditional admission. So it's just something that we would consider you in addition to. Students in the honors program receive some benefits like special courses, advanced registration, the ability to live in the honors village, honor specific advising. But if you're selected for honors, or sorry, applying for honors, does not influence your traditional admissions application. Same thing for Innovation Academy. If you're interested in entrepreneurship, startup company, prototyping, this is a very unique program that UF has. You also submit an initial essay in your Common App, and we're going to consider you for all pathways of admission. But this is a unique program that operates on a different academic calendar. So you take classes in spring and summer. Fall is your semester off for research, online classes, internships, whatever that might be. It's only available to a select number of majors, but all of them are going to graduate with a minor in innovation. So those are just some of our pathway programs. But overall, when you're considering what our institution has to offer, we have that community on campus, that student life, as well as great value for the education, the cost that you're contributing to your education versus what you're receiving. So that affordable tuition rate, and then the outcomes and successes of our students. So I am happy to go ahead and open it up to questions that anyone might have.
You're also welcome to use the chat if you'd like to drop some questions in the chat.
All right, I see a question for cost of tuition. So our tuition for in-state students for academic year for full-time students about $6,000, so $6,380. Out-of-state tuition is $28,658. So those are some of the lowest tuition rates you'll see among top public and private institutions in the country. And all of that information is available on our website as well. What is our medical program like? So for students that are interested in pre-med, there's not an undergraduate degree in pre-med. Instead, you would major in whatever you want and work with pre-med advisors on a pre-med track to apply to medical school, regardless of what your undergraduate major is. So when you are applying to medical school, you'll have that coursework. You'll be working with our advisors. Another great option for students, all of our professional schools and the hospitals are on our campus in Gainesville. So students interested in those health-related fields can get exposure and experience in the hospitals, volunteering, working for programs. So students definitely have that option to get involved early if you're interested in pre-med, and then even going on into those medical programs that we have. Let me see. So if you have an AA after graduating as a senior, when you apply, are you considered with all other graduating seniors or in a transfer group? So for students that are graduating high school and earned their AA while they were graduating high school, they'll still apply as a freshman student first through the Common App. If they are denied as a freshman, then they get the opportunity to be reconsidered as a transfer division for a particular major. That's if they go through the Common App process first. Now, if you've earned your AA, you graduated, maybe you graduated last year, or you're planning to go to community college first after you graduate high school, you can transfer to UF as an upper division transfer student. So to be eligible to transfer, you need to have at least 60 credits or your AA degree and the prerequisite requirements for your intended major. So visit our website, follow the links for transfer admission, since each program makes their own decision and own requirements, and they're usually looking for prerequisite coursework. Most of our students are going to be coming in as freshmen through that freshman class. So that's where you have your biggest opportunity to apply. Will you share the recording? So I am not the one recording this. So I don't know if our moderators are familiar.
Yes, we will be sharing the links later. District will be, yes.
Okay.
I do have some questions that came into me in the chat when you're ready as well.
Okay, let me get this one last one. What were the 5 top schools you mentioned in the beginning of the presentation? Oh, you may have been referring to our professional schools, our 5 professional schools. So UF, as a university, we have 16 academic colleges. 5 of those are professional schools. So law, medicine, dentistry, pharmacy, and the only veterinary school in the state of Florida. Do you want to go ahead and ask your questions that you have?
Yes. So the first question is, what is the minimum ACT score expected?
So we do not have a minimum test score requirement. We're part of our holistic process, and we're looking at students in the context of their community. So there's not a minimum that we're looking for.
For students who earned an associate's degree at a community college, do they have to apply as a first-year student or do they apply as a transfer? And what are the odds of them getting in?
So if you are earning your AA or associates or 60 college credits at the same time as graduating high school, you'll still apply as a freshman. That's where you have your most opportunity. If you've already graduated high school, you've been attending a community college, or you plan to go to a community college first, you would be then applying as a upper division transfer. Those seats are much more limited, and those decisions are made by each individual program. So you would apply to that particular major, that particular department makes the decision based on the prerequisite courses and their applicant pool. So as always, I always recommend, if possible, go through our freshman Common App method first, since that is our biggest opportunity.
Okay. The next question is, for qualifying, what is the weightage on academic versus non-academic criteria?
So in terms of the weighting, there's not a perfect scale. Every student is going to be a little bit different, and that's okay. So we are looking for strong academics, as well as a strong community involvement in extracurricular activities. Now, whether that's working part-time jobs to support your family, whether that's volunteering, helping with siblings, clubs and organizations, both are important factors in our admission process. Thousands of students have the exact same numbers, and it's not enough to tell us who you are. So that's the holistic piece, and there's no exact equation since everyone's a little bit different.
Those are the questions that I have that have been sent to me.
Okay. I do have a question. Will you share the presentation? I don't have the presentation. Did you say that the school district will be sending out?
Yes, we're recording and they're going to be sharing it. Yes, that's my understanding.
And then, oh, weighted scores. By this, do you mean GPA weighted scores?
Yes.
Okay, so if it's GPA, we know that different schools weight GPAs different ways. So we are going to recalculate that with the SSAR. So students that are taking an honors level course receives an additional half point. AP, IB, ACE, those receive an additional full point, one whole point, instead of the half point. And then any academic dual enrollment courses also receive an additional full point in that recalculation. So an unweighted GPA would be if you took some schools weight GPAs, other schools don't, and other schools weight completely different, which is why we recalculate to one standard system. But typically an unweighted GPA would mean that you were taking, let's say, biology honors, and you got an A, you got 4 points on an unweighted scale. If you took biology, AP biology, and you still got an A, unweighted would be also a 4.0. You got A's in both courses, but neither of them have weight. Once you consider honors, AP, IB, ACE dual enrollment, those advanced courses with a weighted scale, it bumps their GPA up higher. Full point for AP, would it be a C or higher? So for the courses, we want to see that you have strong academic backgrounds in your courses. So if you're, let's see. So a C or whatever grade you're receiving in those courses, they do have the extra weight. So keep that in mind when you're considering what courses you're taking, because we do want to see you doing well in your courses. And that extra weight should be helping you, not hurting you. Are you looking for volunteering? So volunteering, community involvement, whatever your activities look like out of school is what we're interested in. However you are spending your time meaningfully. If that's volunteering, we want to know what you're doing, what activities, what projects have you worked towards, maybe which populations are you working with. But if you're not volunteering and you're doing other things like part-time jobs, family responsibility, clubs and involvement, sports, music, any of those are extracurricular activities that we're considering. How much time do we have until our next presentation?
We have 8 minutes,
Oh, okay.
and I don't have any more questions directed to me.
Just in case it wasn't clear with the C's or belower for C's or lower grades for AP courses or courses with weight. So if you had a C in a course, that would be one level. And then if you had a C in an advanced level course, it's going to hurt your GPA a little bit more just because that course is worth more points, possible points. What engineering colleges are there and what specialization majors are offered? We have over 120 undergraduate majors. We have several opportunities for students interested in engineering. We have a really great engineering program. Let me see if I can quickly count. 16 engineering majors under that particular program. So if you're interested in engineering, I'd recommend visiting our website or checking out the engineering college website since they have some pretty great course offerings that also value, all of our programs value experiential learning. So students getting hands-on experience in their fields. How many seats are there for engineering? So like I mentioned for our freshman admission process, we are not making those admission decisions based on the major you select. So if you select engineering, you can start right away in engineering. We are not basing that admissions decision on what you select. We also know students might change their major, and that's okay. So for freshman students, there is not a limited number of seats for our programs. The one exception for engineering is biomedical engineering. Once you reach the advanced level coursework. So you can begin, but if you're interested in the biomedical engineering program, you would then have a secondary process after you've enrolled with us and you're working with your advisors in those courses. There's then a secondary process to continue in biomedical engineering, since that's our only program for engineering with a little bit more limited spaces. But all of our freshman students can start out right away. There's no limits on freshman admission seats. Do we have anything for psychiatry? So yes, we do have a psychiatry program. So that would be a specialization after medical school. So first would be an undergraduate degree, then would be a professional school, so medical school, and then you would specialize in psychiatry. So we do have psychiatry here in Gainesville through our UF Health Shands. We have both adult and child psychiatry. But that would be after a undergraduate degree, so your bachelor's, your medical MD degree, and then the specialization in psychiatry.
I have another question that just came in.
Mhm.
It says, assuming strong academics, what are suggestions for making your application stronger?
Awesome. So I always recommend giving us the details. I can't make assumptions. I need you to tell me exactly what you were doing in as much detail as possible. Anything involving what you were doing with your time. If you were in, let's say you did Boy Scouts, tell me how long you did Boy Scouts, how many years, how many hours you contributed, but also tell me the details of the projects you were involved. Maybe you were working towards your Eagle Scout award. I know that's a lot of time commitment, but I can't make that assumption. I need you to tell me, and the details help. So if you were doing a specific project for your community, tell us what you were doing, how that helped your community, what you were passionate about, what that impact was. Those are the details that will make applications stand out amongst the thousands we received. It's the details that matter. How much time do we have before our next session?
We have 1 minute.
Oh, 1 minute, okay.
Oh, and the question just came in. Is there an early admissions deadline?
So at this time, there is not an early decision priority. Sorry, we've used priority. At this time, there's not an early decision, early action. If that changes, it's going to be posted on our website and we'll be notifying all of our potential students and school counselors. So we hope to have our newest deadlines within the next few months.
And it is 6 o'clock.
Okay.
So
Thanks all for joining.
Thank you, guys. I'm going to let the others in.
Okay.
Okay. जनरल फोल्डरमा त कहिले गएको छ तिम्रो?
Do you think we're good to go ahead and get started?
Yes, I think so. 6 to 1. I have 2 more coming in, so I've let everybody else in.
Okay. Hello, everyone. My name is Melissa. I am an admission officer for the University of Florida. Now, I did attend here as a student, so I loved it so much that I stayed. But today I'll share with you some information about our university, our application process, and then I'll open it up to any questions you might have. So we are located in Gainesville, Florida, so North Central Florida, just a few hours away from all of you. Now, I am your representative for Pasco County. So I'm happy to answer any questions you might have, or if you ever visit us on campus, I'm also in the Welcome Center. I do the daily campus tours with our student tour guides. So that is where you can find me at my desk job, but otherwise I am your rep for Pasco. But Gainesville, Florida, not too far. We like to say where nature and culture meet, and we have a college town atmosphere. So everything really does revolve around the university. Median age is 26 years old. Everything focuses on UF and the campus community, which is really nice. Now, our campus community is almost 61,000 students, with about 38,000 of those being undergraduate students. And I know that sounds like a really big number, but we have a lot of things in place to ensure that students have an individualized and personalized experience on campus. Now, we have our one campus here in Gainesville, but we do have research facilities in all 67 counties in the state of Florida. So our reach goes far beyond campus and into our communities. In terms of what we offer academically, we have over 120 undergraduate programs, over 100 different minors to choose from, and the option to individualize your coursework and your academic journey, whether that is a double major, a dual degree, minors, specializations, concentrations, whatever that might look like, we have that available for you. Now, we have one of the, our academic programs are one of the most comprehensive offerings in the country. So lots to choose from, including our 5 professional schools. So we have 16 academic colleges, including 5 professional schools. That's the College of Medicine, Pharmacy, Dentistry, Law, and the only veterinary school in the state of Florida. So if you're interested in those professional programs, you can work with advisors to ensure you're taking the right courses to then apply to those professional programs, regardless of what your undergraduate major is. What's also nice is we have the hospitals here. So we have teaching hospitals on our one campus in Gainesville, both the UF Health Shands, as well as our veterinary hospitals too for large and small animals. So if you're interested in those pre-health fields, you have access to those opportunities to get hands-on experience in those fields, even still on campus. In terms of our classroom spaces, we have a 17:1 average student to faculty ratio. Now that's the average. Your introductory courses, those are going to be much larger lecture hall styles with smaller breakout groups. But as you progress in your academic major, your courses are going to get much smaller. We know over 50% of our courses are less than 20 students. That's about the size of your high school classroom, right? So you still have that one-on-one time with your professors, which are all required to hold office hours. So that's a great time to get to know your professor outside the classroom, maybe even get involved with some of their research. We are a land, sea, and space grant institution, so we're doing research across all of those fields. If you're familiar with Gatorade, this was one of our research projects through the College of Medicine. But last year we spent over $1.25 billion on research. So we're a very research-driven institution. So if that's interesting to you, you have that option. We also are becoming one of the artificial intelligence universities in the country with AI across the curriculum. So regardless of what your major is, you'll have access to artificial intelligence courses, which is really nice for our students, in addition to the HyperGator, which is the fastest supercomputer on a higher ed campus in the world for student use. So if this interests you, it is available. But with all of these great resources, they are at an exceptional value. So we were named a 5-star college on Best Colleges from Money Magazine. So the exceptional education that you're receiving doesn't have to be expensive. We have the lowest tuition rate among top public and private institutions in the country. And we know that 75% of our students graduate completely debt-free. Over 90% of them are also receiving financial aid of some kind. And that's through a few different ways. Merit-based aid, you're automatically considered for with your freshman application through the Common App. So automatically considered for merit-based aid. Need-based aid is determined with the FAFSA. So you'll want to submit the FAFSA to determine your need-based aid. But I like to always mention part-time jobs and campus employment, which is great for students to not only get some extra money, but also earn or gain experience in those fields. With such a large campus and so many offices, all of them are hiring student employees, which is great for our students. And then when we think of outcomes, we think of our Career Connection Center. So they're ranked number 2 in the country. And one of my favorite things that they offer is the Gator Career Closet. So this office provides students, I like to call it, it's about the size of a boutique, but students can go there to get an entire professional outfit for free to keep every single semester. So our students are prepared to go off to those job interviews, go off into the workforce with this professional attire. They also hold the largest career fairs on a college campus in the Southeast. So these are employers that want UF students. Many students walk away from that career showcase that you see pictured with a summer job, summer internship, the job after graduation. These are employers that want to hire UF students. But we do want you to have a life outside of the classroom. So that's going to be your campus life, your community on campus. So there's a few things I want to touch on. The first is clubs and organizations. We have over 1,000 student organizations on campus. We have so many clubs that we have a club to help you find a club, just in case you can't find a club. And if for whatever reason you don't see what you're interested in, you can create your own club and apply for funding from student government that has a multi-million-dollar budget to support our student activities on campus. We also have a great on-campus housing community. So we have over 25 different residence halls to choose from, including many of them have living learning communities in them for students of shared interests or similar identities. But it is not required or reserved for first-year students. So if you're interested in living on campus, we recommend submitting your housing application once after you submit your application for admission to establish your priority, because there are so many choices. I want you to have your top picks, but it is an option to live on campus. You're welcome to live off campus if you want. And what I always like to mention is because Gainesville is a college town, all of the housing complexes off campus are student housing friendly. So you can live on or off campus. It's completely your choice. But living on campus gives students that option for another social community space. There are a few other offices I want to touch on that support our students on campus. The first is the Disability Resource Center. So for students that need accommodations either now or in the future, this office is there to make sure that they are successful on campus. We also have the Office of First Generation Student Success. So for students that might be the first in their family to go to college, this office is there to make sure that they are successful as well. Now, the last one I want to touch on is the Center for Inclusion and Multicultural Engagement. This office is there to support our diverse student population on campus with different programming, spaces, and other student engagement, along with the International Center. So UF's International Center hosts all of our study abroad opportunities. Last year, we sent almost 3,000 students on study abroad across 57 different countries. So many different options for you, depending on the time that you want to be and where you want to go. But that's available to all majors, and some of those programs even have UF professors that travel with you to those countries. So many options for our students on campus to build that community and have that social space. But let's go ahead and step into our application process. So our application is available on the Common App. So the Common application, and then there's a few things that I want to touch on that are our most common questions. The first one is going to be the start term, so summer or fall. It is not easier to be admitted to one term or the other. It is a preference. We'll ask you to indicate your preference of summer or fall. We will try to honor that preference, but you're automatically considered for both. So depending on space, you might be offered a different term than what you've selected. It does not influence your decision if you select one or the other. It is just your preference. Next question we get a lot is your major selection. So there's a question that has if you have an intended academic interest. This is just an interest. You are not admitted by major. You are not locked into any major. We also know that students might change their major at some point, and that's okay. So if you want to go ahead and indicate exactly what you want to study on your application, you can do so. If you're not sure, that's okay too. You can select exploratory or undecided, but it is not going to influence your admissions decision. Now, lastly, for students that are earning their AA or 60 college credits at the same time that they're graduating high school, you'll still submit the Common application. Now, that's the application part, but there's a few other steps. Next is going to be the SSAR, the Student Self-Reported Academic Record. This is where you will self-report the courses you've taken in high school. If you took high school courses in middle school, you'll tell us about those too, but you'll say the course, the grade you received, and the level of rigor. Whether it's honors, AP, IB, dual enrollment, you'll indicate that. That is how we will recalculate your GPA, because different schools calculate GPAs different ways. So we're going to go ahead and recalculate that. The last deadline is always the test score deadline. We are not test optional. We do require test scores. That can be SAT, ACT, or CLT. We don't have a preference, but we do super score. So it's to your advantage to continue testing so we can take the highest combination of your subscores. Now, those are the 3 phases of the application process. Our deadlines are going to be released soon for my current juniors, so upcoming seniors. Those deadlines will be released in the next few months of what that timeline looks like. But it's always going to include those 3 steps. And I want you to meet the deadlines that we set. This current year, we've received over 74,000 applications for freshmen for the priority decision. That was November 1st. So well over 70,000 applications. It is very important that you meet the deadlines that we'll set. There is rarely space available. So again, very important that you meet those deadlines, but that's the application process. You probably want to know what we are looking for. So that's going to be our holistic review process. We have 2 pieces. There's academics and non-academics. Academics, like I mentioned, those are going to be your grades, the GPA that we're recalculating, test scores. Now, my juniors, these are going to be the last grades that we see in that recalculated GPA. We're not going to have time to look at senior year grades. So those are the last grades. So I want you to finish strong your junior year. For my upcoming seniors, your senior year, we'll look at the schedule you've selected, the courses you are choosing to take your senior year. We want to see that you are still challenging yourself into your senior year. but we won't have time to look at those grades. So that's the academic side, but the numbers don't tell us enough. We need to know about you. That's the non-academic portion. So extracurricular activities and your essay. Now we're using the Common App essay. There's multiple prompts to choose from. My recommendation is no matter what prompt you choose, to write about yourself. If you are not writing about yourself, you should rewrite it. There's a saying, if we were to remove your name from the essay and I had 10 blank essays in front of me, can your best friend, can your mom, dad, can they pick out which essay was you? That's what we're supposed to learn from this part of your application. Now, your extracurricular activities, I encourage you to think very broadly, anything outside the classroom. So whether that's clubs and involvement, leadership position, volunteering, maybe you have family responsibilities or part-time jobs, any talents, hobbies at home, honors, awards, whatever that might look like for you, however you are spending your time meaningfully, that's what we want to know. And the importance is in the details. Thousands of students might be president of something, but I need to know what kind of president you were. What activities did you start? What initiatives did you take? How did it impact your community? How did it impact your membership? Maybe you didn't hold a elected position or an appointed position. Maybe you just stayed late to help when you didn't have to. Maybe you established some things on your own. Maybe you are working part-time jobs and you were promoted to shift lead or training manager. Anything that you're doing outside of the classroom is what we're interested in for this section. So I encourage you to think very broadly and give us those details. Thousands of students might be doing the same activity. I need to know why you are spending your time and what is unique about you. So that is the review process, but I do want to touch on two programs very quickly. The first is the honors program. If you're interested in honors, you submit an additional essay supplemental in your common application. But this is for students that want some other additional opportunities like honors specific classes, honors specific advising, clubs and organizations, the ability to live in our honors village, which is our newest residence hall on campus. But applying for honors does not influence your standard admissions application. You are still considered for standard admissions. Same thing for Innovation Academy. This is something else that you would apply for if you're interested in. You'd submit the additional essay in Common App, and we would consider you for both pathways, both our standard traditional admission pathway as well as Innovation Academy. Now, this program is for students interested in entrepreneurship, design, startup companies, but they do operate on a different academic calendar. So they go to classes in the spring and summer. Fall is their semester off. So if they want to take additional classes, if they want to study abroad, research, internships, that's their break semester. It's only available to a select number of majors, but all of those students are going to graduate with a minor in innovation. So those are just some of the options we provide our students with. But overall, you'll still receive that supportive community of our campus life. You'll have an incredible value for your tuition rate and the education that you'll be receiving and the access to resources we have. And then the success of our students. We have almost 500,000 living alumni worldwide. So you'll always be able to interact with some of our Gator alumni that are making a difference in our community. So I am happy with that to go ahead and answer any questions we might have. You can either send them in the chat, or if you want to feel free to raise your hand or ask, and I'm happy to answer them.
I have some questions in the chat. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, who is the contact person for the College of Architecture?
Okay, so we have 16 academic colleges. If you're interested in a particular college, I'd recommend reaching out to that college directly. But your admissions application for freshmen will always come through the Office of Admissions. We are making that decision. Will you send me that particular person's name so I can look up who it is they're looking for? Is it for freshman admission, or is it for anything particular in the
For
college?
architecture. That's all they said, and it is. I'll send it to you.
Okay. You can also always contact our Office of Admissions and we can put you in touch with the appropriate person. But depending on what exactly you're looking for within the College of Architecture, it might be a different person. So you're welcome to reach out to our office, or maybe specify if there's a certain direction that you're asking for. I don't want to put you in the wrong place.
Okay, next question. Can you major in zoology or paleontology?
So we do have zoology as one of our undergraduate majors. It's in the College of Liberal Arts and Sciences. What was the second major you said?
Paleontology.
No, we do not have that major as a full undergraduate degree. We may have some courses and selections to still have exposure in that field, but it is not a entire major or degree.
Next, we have, do you count electives in the GPA?
Okay, so we are focused on the academic core subjects for the most part. Now, any of your AP IB ACE, those receive an additional full point, regardless if it's academic or elective, those receive an additional full point in the, I'm sorry, college, sorry, I'm looking at messages. AP IB ACE, those receive an additional full point regardless of the type of course it was, if it was an elective or academic. Dual enrollment courses, only the academic core dual enrollment courses receive the additional full point. But we want to see students taking the maximum amount of courses they can and challenging themselves. So we do look at those academic core courses and we're looking at how many you've taken. So does that answer? I think that answers your question. If not, you can ask again and I can revisit.
Okay. Do any experiences in middle school count? My daughter built horse jumps and saddle racks as a big project in Girl Scouts to earn her silver award, but she was in the 7th grade.
Okay. Congratulations on the silver award. I'm familiar with that particular program. So for any of your involvement that you may have been doing prior to high school, when it's continuous involvement, you've been maybe involved in Girl Scouts, Boy Scouts for an extended period of time, you can share that with us. That with how long you've maybe been doing that activity and how committed you are to that involvement. Now, if you've won maybe awards, you might want to indicate that. But though there's still substantial recognition that we want to honor, but your application is mostly focused on your high school experience. But depending on what it is, you're welcome to extend it into middle school, or maybe you've been playing an instrument for several years. Go ahead and tell that to us so we can have that context. But just be mindful of the space you might have, since you can only share so much within your application for us to understand. But congratulations on the silver award.
Yes. Do you offer a biology minor to go along with a business major?
Let me double check very quickly. We have so many programs, it's a little hard to keep track of all of them. But if you Google UF, our undergraduate catalog, it has all of our academic programs, both undergraduate catalog and the graduate catalog. But I will look at the bio minor. But we can move to the next question while I
Okay.
this.
Will the student get priority and selection if he has some credits during high school?
So do you mean by college credits by chance? I think they might be asking college credits, and someone can correct me if I'm misinterpreting. But students that are taking college level courses while they're in high school, we view that as challenging coursework similar to AP, IB, ACE, so the dual enrollment courses, those are advanced level coursework. So there's not necessarily an exact priority measure for students, since we're looking holistically, we're looking at everything combined. So that's the academics and the non-academics. We do view advanced academics. We do favor advanced coursework, but not all students have access to advanced coursework, and that's okay. We're only looking at you in the context of what is available to you at each school.
Okay, to go back to the biology minor question, they were asking because they couldn't find a biology minor, so they wanted to make sure.
I do not see a biology minor in our undergraduate catalog at this time. That might change as more programs develop. they'll definitely still have access to biology courses, but it looks like right now there's not a biology minor, only a major at this moment.
Will the student get priority in selection? Oh, sorry. Is there a preference between AP honors or IB that would benefit acceptance?
So we consider AP, IB, ACE, academic dual enrollment. Those are the most advanced courses that we see students taking. Honors, we consider just a step below that advanced coursework, but still a step up from just regular standard coursework. So we want to see students taking the most challenging courses in relation to what is offered to them. So if you have that advanced coursework, AP, IB, ACE, dual enrollment, we do look favorably on that, but it does not indicate necessarily a priority. Just because of our holistic admission process, we're still looking at everything together. We do want to see those strong academics, but there are more equations to it.
Next one is, if you get your AA from PHSC, are you admitted to UF automatically? USF does it and UCF too. Not sure if PHS is close enough to you.
So we do not have any direct transfer programs from community colleges in the state of Florida. So not any one particular community college or associate's degree guarantees admission to UF. So you'll still go through our standard application process. You are not guaranteed admission coming with an AA from a Florida public institution for us, for UF.
Okay, and the last question that I have here is, may we have a link to your slideshow in the chat?
I am not able to send a link, but I'm happy to follow up with the coordinator for this particular event. So otherwise, all of this information is still available on our website. You're welcome to always reach out to us, but I don't know if I have a way to share it quite yet.
And I do have a question that just came in. Is there a transfer program from USF?
So if you're interested in transferring, it would look the same from any other institution, whether that's a community college, another university in the state. It's going to look the same. You'd be applying as a upper division transfer. You'd have to meet the minimum 60 credit requirement or your AA degree that's been awarded, along with the prerequisites for each particular major. So you'd be applying directly to a major as a transfer student. And we only admit upper division transfer students, and those seats are very limited, which is why if you're graduating with your AA at the same time as your high school, we want you to apply as a freshman first through the common application.
Those are the only questions that I have, and there's 5 minutes left in this session.
Okay. And I do have a phone number for the architecture program. I'll repeat it again, just that freshman admissions are determined by the Office of Admissions, not a particular major or department. And the major you select is not influencing on your admissions decision. But if you're interested specifically in a particular office, I'll go ahead and include the number for architecture in the chat. Okay. Oops.
I have another question that came in.
Okay.
Does UF require students to conduct a search project in order to graduate?
Okay.
The
Yes.
research project, sorry, in order to
No,
graduate.
you're good. I saw the same question. So students that are interested in research are more than welcome to participate. We have an entire office dedicated to helping students find those research projects called the Center for Undergraduate Research, but you are not required to. However, I will say some programs heavily encourage it depending on what your major is, but you still have that flexibility to pursue what you are interested in, whether that is research, internship, study abroad, all of the above, none of the above. You have the opportunity to kind of personalize that. Many students that are pursuing maybe a thesis or graduating with honors, some of those students choose to participate in research in correlation with that kind of upcoming graduation, but it is not required. required. You can graduate without completing that. So it's strictly up to the student's preference.
I have another question.
Mhm.
So if you're taking dual enrollment, how do you know which classes are considered core classes? I know math and like English composition and but like history, I would think, right? But what about like science, like marine biology or oceanography or stuff like that? Is that an elective or a science?
So academic core subjects we define as, and we're following the state's definition. So academic core being English, math, social sciences, foreign language, and then sciences. So marine biology, that would be an academic subject, that'd be a science. History, Spanish, English composition, those are, we're considering academic core subjects.
Okay. And like art would be elective?
Correct.
Okay. Even though that's in like humanities, it's one of the humanities.
If it's an art, art, photography, drawing, pottery, that's considered an elective.
Okay.
Depending on the course, we might step into more social sciences if it's maybe like an art history course. I'd have to see if like an art history. I'm
Okay.
not sure. Do you have a particular course in mind or just generally?
Art appreciation, I think.
Art
That's it.
appreciation, that one is gonna be an elective.
And then what about like principles of marketing?
Principles of marketing. Ooh, let me see if it's an elective or if it's a social science.
I didn't realize colleges didn't count your full GPA, so now it's going to be harder to track what their actual GPA is.
Um, let me see.
And I know while you look at that, they're asking if there's an email for you, an email address.
Yeah, actually the easiest way, I'll go ahead and include my email in the chat. Since I am your representative, but you can always reach out to our office via phone or our general admission email. And you'd have the fastest response. So I'll include both mine and what the quickest method would be if I'm out of the office, but let me see that.
And it is 6:30, just so you know.
And then- let me come back to. For the question on academic core subjects for dual enrollment, if you want to send me a message with your contact information so I can get back with you. And if you want to provide the particular course that's in question, that would be helpful for me, since I don't know if I'll have an answer for you right this very minute.
Okay, I will do that. Thank you.
Thank you.
And I don't have any more questions.
Okay.
Mm. If you don't have any more questions, I think we should be good on our end.
Okay. Thank you all for joining, and thank you for helping tonight. I greatly appreciate what you've done for me.
Of course.